Hello everybody, welcome to the Football Daily Weekly. Pleasure to have you looking at us. Lawrence is here.
Yo.
And Adam McCullough.
Isn't that brilliant?
Yo.
He's a full-time devil.
Full-time devil.
Yeah, not part-time, full-time.
A lot of people say I'm a part-time red. Don't know where to
No
get that
chance,
from.
no chance, my good man. We've got you in today.
Cut him and he bleeds red.
Like the rest of us.
Yep.
For a number of reasons, but the main one being this is a Manchester United special.
Oh, I thought it was for your birthday.
That as well.
Okay.
They said they had a birthday treat for me in the form of a magnificent man. They weren't lying. But yeah, it's a Manchester United special today, everybody. We all love Manchester United. Oh, that'll get the comments going, won't it? But yeah, let's begin, Adam and Lawrence. Manchester United are building a team to contend for the title. Surely they've got Schweinsteiger, they've got Schneiderlin.
Yeah.
We've got a Schmidfield.
There you go. They've got a Schmidfield.
Get that kicked off.
You're buzzing, aren't you?
I'm absolutely buzzing. My
Yeah.
cheeks are tingling. That's how buzzing I am.
Yeah. There's a joke in there
Obviously,
somewhere.
we need a few more players. I said this yesterday. We're not ready to challenge for the title as it is, but Schneiderlin and Schweinsteiger coming in, we've solved a problem that we've had for how long? Do you remember Raphael and Fabio in the centre of midfield? I know we beat Arsenal with that team, but
Get that in.
that's what we've had.
Beat
Gibson, Darren Gibson. Do you
Yeah.
remember him?
No. Do you
Remember
remember
Gibbo?
Cleverly?
Wayne Rooney at DM. I'm sick of that. Last season we even saw Robin van Persie and Wayne Rooney drop into central midfield and Marouane Fellaini up top. So now we've got the likes of Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin,
A proper midfield.
Herrera,
Staley Blind.
Blind. I love it.
Lawrence,
We've got
what
a
are, you,
midfield.
what are you thinking, Lawrence? Manchester United, they've got two very coveted players there.
Yeah, especially Schweinsteiger, I think. Especially the fact that he's linked up with Louis van Gaal before. I mean, Adam was saying just before that Louis van Gaal moved him from the wing into the centre. Essentially made him the player he is. Started him on that path, if you like.
Yeah, so you turn him into a midfielder. He used to be a wide player. Louis van Gaal got him drilled into the philosophy that he likes, played him at 6 or 8, and he's thrived since then and gone on to be the player that we know and love. And I think this move, he's won literally everything. It's easy to go stale.
You say you
where
already
you are.
love him?
Yeah, I already love
That
him.
we know and love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah.
But he has been one of the best midfielders in Europe for the last, 5
Can
to
I
10
say
years.
so? Can I say this
Yeah.
word? He's a bastard,
Yeah.
and we need that in the midfield. We need just that in the midfield, and he's perfect for it. And in Schneiderlin, we've got someone that can cover for Carrick
But do you
and
think-
pass the ball.
But how do you think the midfield will look then? The
What kind of shape?
Yeah, the balance. I mean, will he go for a 3?
Yeah, it has to be a 3.
So what about someone? I mean, Carrick had a great season last year. Will we see Carrick?
He was
play-
always injured though, wasn't he?
True, but then Schweinsteiger's had a lot of injuries as
Exactly,
well, which is
so
the only concern really.
In that we've
particularly
got
now.
Herrera, Blind, Schneiderlin, Schweinsteiger, Carrick.
That's a
That's
great
5.
injury combination.
Yeah.
We've got 4 competitions to play for. So I think they're all going to get game. Blind can cover at left back
But
as
will
well.
that not all? But they will not be going for the 2 places in behind, perhaps Juan Mata or Fellaini or.
I don't think Juan Mata or Fellaini's roles are guaranteed in this team.
Is Mata going to be... we are going to discuss that kind of later. Though,
Yeah.
aren't we?
Okay.
But,
Good point.
What I'm more concerned about is say what they bring in terms of characteristics to the side that maybe United lacked last season. Because before, maybe when you didn't sign these guys, and I knew you were coming on the channel, I was thinking, where do United lack something? You could still maybe level that criticism at the defence. They lack a little bit of maybe
We lack
leadership
a
in the
leader,
back.
a winner,
Exactly.
a ca-
And
It's that winning mentality.
But it was a similar thing in midfield that there wasn't quite someone that was looking to give it some sort of shape. And Schweinsteiger and Schneiderlin are 2 guys that give great shape to a side.
With Schweinsteiger, Herrera, Blind, Carrick, Schneiderlin, we have all these different options. You can play a number of different things. So I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, all the players, someone's going to be left disappointed, aren't they? But I think Michael Carrick, Schweinsteiger will be in and out of the team. Schneiderlin, Herrera, they need to be the 2 players that the midfield is built around for me because they're the future, aren't they? So Schneiderlin, Herrera for me, and another would be my main 3.
What do you think?
What do
Well,
you
I
reckon?
think I do think it's interesting. Obviously at the beginning of last season, we do other shows, and I remember you doing a whole bit on the fact that Louis van Gaal notoriously starts slowly, and I think that that maybe became a bit of a tired point come mid-season because a lot of people were saying, well, he'll start soon. He said he needed 3 months or whatever, but I do think there seems to be a lot more understanding towards him, and a lot more understanding about his ways as people have gotten to know him. And I think that's going to benefit United in the second season. The way that he's shaping the side, the way that also you say there's going to be someone who's missing out or doesn't like to miss out.
Competition for places now.
Exactly, but there's a difference between the perception of Moyes not being able to manage the big guys and Louis van Gaal being able to manage the big guys and those guys being happy to play under him. And that's where there is some sort of synergy between the perception of Louis van Gaal and the perception of United as two big guys meeting in the middle, and people are happy to play for United and happy to play for the cause of Louis van Gaal because they realise the adaptability of all these guys. And all of his signings so far have been Louis van Gaal signings. They're adaptable players, they can play multiple positions, tactically intelligent, and it means that he can line up against a lot of different people in different ways, but essentially play very adaptable sides that seem to have a great understanding. And that's partly what he was good about with the Netherlands. Was that he was able to look at the other team and still very aggressively set up against them.
It is a Manchester United special, and as of which we've got Rio Ferdinand to give us some of his opinions.
I feel that they need experience at the back. I think myself, Nemanja Vidic, Patrice Evra, all left the club, and it was left to Johnny Evans, who's an experienced player to some extent. It was never a continued regular, considered a consistent regular every single season. That was his time. Phil Jones and Chris Smalling were still finding their feet at the club still. And I just think maybe they were lacking that bit of experience, and I think injuries hurt them at the back a lot this season as well. So to keep everyone fit first and foremost, and then maybe to invest in someone who's played at the top level in central defence would be a good start. I don't know, I'm interested to see how Depay does. I think he done very well at the World Cup. He was someone who was a bright spark. He's quick. The last season scored a lot of goals, so I'm interested to see how he'll do.
Manchester United have made a couple of big signings, of course. They're looking for some more, but the question remains: is this the Manchester United that we all know and love / hate?
No.
This was really brought to the forefront when Danny Welbeck was sold, of course. And people say that Manchester United are a club that always give the youth a chance.
Danny Welbeck, number 23.
He's an Arsenal champ.
Oh, okay.
Same number as Michael Jordan
Yeah.
and David Beckham when he went to Real Madrid.
And Jamie Carragher.
There you go. Adam, are you worried about Manchester United? Do you think that they are now just a buying club? But they've got Blackett and
I think
McNair and a few others.
It's always when Manchester United go on a little spree. You'll
Like
always
every
hear
year.
about, oh, Man United are ruining football, spending all this money, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Nobody looks at the facts that last season we had McNair, Blackett,
Di Maria.
Wilson.
Herrera,
Di Maria.
Wilson.
Di Maria.
All these players coming through, given opportunities to play in the team.
Di Maria.
You stop saying Di Maria, please. He didn't get much opportunities because he couldn't get in the team because of all the youngsters. Do you know what I mean?
There you
So
go.
we do give youngsters a chance.
Yeah.
Now Danny Welbeck went. Right or wrong, I feel it was the right decision at the time. Although personally, I loved him. I love Danny Welbeck. But when you got an opportunity to bring in someone like Falcao, obviously it didn't work out. But he's a world-class striker. Danny Welbeck isn't a world-class striker.
Well, there's something to be said for this, isn't there? When people say, "Oh, but you can't sell him; he's a youth product." But if he's deemed surplus to requirements,
I think the same was said with Tom Thorpe, our captain of the under-21s. We won back-to-back league titles with him. We let him go and everyone was like, oh, what's going on? Why has Tom Thorpe been let go? He's better than Blackett, he's better than McNair. He's just signed for Rotherham. So that says all you need to know. Like the levels between being very good in the reserves and, possibly playing for some of the Premier League teams, it's not Manchester United level. And they've got to be hitting it. I think we have got youth coming through.
Yeah.
You look at Herrera. He's just been out in the Under-20s World Cup, tore it up with Brazil, scored a great goal in the final. We got I always get his name mixed up. Fosu Mensah. I was about to say Mosu Fencer.
That's all right, don't worry.
Yeah,
That's his brother.
him coming through. Axel Tuanzebe, he won Under-18s Player of the Year
Are you
last
making
year.
these names up at this point?
I am, yes.
Okay.
I knew you wouldn't be able to verify them, so
that's
I'm just
it.
throwing them out there. But Axel
Bill
Tuanzebe,
Carr,
for me,
he's playing.
he's like, I know we got Rio on the video as
Yeah.
well. He's a similar mold kind of defender as Rio. So we have got players coming through. Whether they'll be involved with the first team next year, I don't know. Them guys will get pushed up to the under-21s. But there are a few players that can come through.
Yeah, I mean, Adam makes a good point, doesn't he, Lawrence? That Manchester United, with the aforementioned players and some young English talent as well, as we saw with Wilson and Blackett and so on, they've always been a buying club, though, as well. They've always bought in big
Roy
players.
Keane
Yeah.
was a
Veron
record transfer.
was an enormous. Van Nistelrooy.
Go far back as Dennis Law, he was a world record transfer.
Exactly.
There as well.
Yap Stam. I mean, they've always bought in big players. Is this just? Yeah, there was a funny noise. I don't know whether you're agreeing or disagreeing there, but we'll find out in just a sec when I shut up and let you talk.
Yeah.
But do you think that? But do you think that this is business as usual?
Yeah.
Or do you think that they have actually moved away a little bit from Ferguson's legacy.
Well, that's part of it. Is the question on the paper says as we know it, and I think that there's very much an outside and an inside perception of Manchester United. And I think that's the same with every club. And every club, Arsenal have got it, Chelsea have got it. There are always going to be footballing social tropes that people will throw at them, which is United spend a lot of money,
and they can be generational.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying is that sometimes it can feel a little bit. I guess part of it is that there's a lot of banter that goes around between football fans, and people will lever things because, someone said to me yesterday, I like Man United fans more when they were in 7th, because it sort of, and I understand what they're saying by that.
I like being a Manchester United fan more when we were in 7th. You know why? Going to the ground was amazing, but sorry.
No, but that would be my point. Is like that. It's almost like sometimes fans find it hard to accept what their own reality is, and so they can. I'm not saying you are dressing it up, but I'm saying that there's a lot there that could also be pointed out as a bit of a I don't know. Someone could level points against you and sort of say, okay, that guy went to Rotherham, but you could also say. Had he stayed at the club, what would then have happened? It's very much. It strikes me sometimes as a bit of revisionist history.
But you can't say that because players are playing in those positions. Look at the team. There's players coming through. There's players playing. Now Manchester United over the last couple of years, when Sir Alex Ferguson was at the club with the Glazers, we had all this talk about there's no value in the market, all this crap. We very rarely went out and bought players that we needed. We've just signed 2 central midfielders, and the whole Manchester United fan base has gone nuts. Because we're not used to it.
I guess there's a difference between. We have to separate the social criticism of Manchester United and the evaluation of Manchester United. The social criticism would be, look, if you're measuring yourself as the phrase is the tallest of all the midgets, you are the tallest of all the midgets. But I think the problem with the perception of some United fans is that then that can then be lauded over other people. So that's the problem, right? Is that there's no social exception to the rule. And United, the same things that maybe I went through at school, that maybe you did at school as well, was that a lot of United fans were more than willing to laud it over people when they were saying, don't go back to your history, don't go through all that, don't talk about the Ferguson era. Like they were saying the same to Liverpool fans, Arsenal fans, when they were looking back at their own history and grasping at those kind of things. And I think it's partly that now that some people have been brought down to earth ever so slightly by losing Ferguson, slightly realising mortality, which is why people say they like you more when you're in 7th, because it's more relatable. You become a more relatable football fan.
I disagree a lot with that because there has to be room for a balance. We are a big club. Our money comes from success. Our money comes from our success over the years. We haven't been given this money by some,
Glazer.
Sugar daddy.
No.
It's Glazers' money. Are you having a laugh? If it was up to the Glazers, we wouldn't get any money. This is what I mean.
So where does the money
these
come from?
leeches sucking money out of the club from our success. We've built our success over the years. We've become this team that we are now. The Glazers have been sucking money out of the club. In fact, they've siphoned $1 billion out. And that's what I'm saying when I say we need this investment that we've had over the last 2 years.
50 million on Di
But we
Maria.
need this investment. We need this. We've needed this investment so much. If we hadn't just signed these players, people like you would be saying, "Oh, United are going to finish outside the top 4. You finished without Fergie, this, that, and the other." And the reason Fergie leaving scuppered us so much was because 1, he was a genius of a manager, and 2, he covered for the Glazers' lack of investment for so long, and that we needed to invest.
Okay, so they've got the investment.
But we've always been a buying club as well.
So whatever you think, they've gone out and they've bought some big names there, but they do have some good young players coming through. And in the current crop, are there any names in particular? I mean, Wilson. There was a bit of talk about Wilson last season.
James Wilson is fantastic. I love him. I think we do need another striker because obviously Rooney and Wilson isn't strong enough if we want to challenge for a couple of trophies. So we do need another striker. But I think James Wilson deserves opportunities this season. Then you look at the likes of Adnan Januzaj, Andreas Pereira coming through as well, Joel Rothwell in the under-21s, he played well last season. Then in the under-18s, you got Axel Tuanzebe, Fosu Mensah, a few others coming through. Callum Gribbin has been training with the first team. He may go on US tour. You're going to see a lot of youngsters go on the US tour. And this is what I'm saying, in Manchester United's squad, of how big are the squads these days, 25 to 30 players, we'll have at least 10 academy players. They may not be all Manc or English, but they will all be academy players brought through the team. And that's what I'm saying, we haven't lost our youth.
But we do have time to hear what Rio Ferdinand thinks about
Rio.
Yeah, I think Danny Welbeck leaving the club, going to a rival as he did, was something I'm sure that a lot of fans weren't happy about. But then I think Louis van Gaal's counter-argument to that is he's brought in players as well as young players he's brought into the squad. Paddy McNair played a lot of games last season. Tyler Blackett, Wilson. Januzaj was still playing the odd game here and there, so I think his counter argument would be I'm not reluctant to use the youth programme at Manchester United. It's just that he's got horses for courses, and Danny Welbeck didn't fit his plans. So, but as I said, I think the traditions of the club are coming through the youth academy that they feel, I can see that there's a progression into the first team, and I think Man United have been the standard bearers for that over the years, and the leaders in that, and Ferguson really emphasised that at the club, carrying on from the Busby's, Matt Busby's time. So that's something I'm sure that the club as a whole would have took into consideration and wanted Louis van Gaal to continue, and I believe he'll continue to do that.
We do have time for a tweet on this Manchester United special of the Football Daily Weekly.
So many good ones.
It's from Adnan, not Januzaj. Kiereshi.
He's actually my favourite tweeter.
Is that right?
Yeah, he really is genuinely fantastic as a tweeter.
Adnan Kiereshi.
Always does good questions.
Well done, Adnan.
Follow me, Adnan.
Yeah, no, you really should. He's great with questions.
Let's see what he's asking. He's saying, what system will Manchester United play?
Told you.
And what will the best 11 be?
Told you.
Now, earlier on in the chat, we were talking about Louis van Gaal, many different systems, many different options. So perhaps the best 11 is a bit of a tricky one, but let's entertain Adnan.
I guess what we need to say is
against the best sides.
So should we say when we're picking the best 11, this isn't to say he has to play these guys.
No, of course not.
It's to explore the idea that United.
If we had a Champions League final tomorrow, who would you play?
Fair enough. I think that's a pretty good exercise.
That's the best way to look at it. It's a long season.
I think that's fair. Also, yes, it would take into account if you're playing Chelsea or Barcelona, you would line up differently.
Yeah.
But let's say we know we're playing a good side. Non-specific side, who are you going to line up with? So David De Gea in goal.
David De Gea in goal. Yeah. Let's also say that if that
4-3-3, yeah, we all agreed on that.
4-3-3. At the time of recording, David De Gea is still a Manchester United
But that would also be my point. If David De Gea left, there is a great backup in Victor
I would say Valdez.
So would you?
If I had to predict, I'd say Valdez.
Okay.
I don't think Dave's going to be.
Well, then we'll bow.
So one of the Spaniards in goal.
We'll put Valdez there just because.
We don't want to like.
You've got options in goal, even.
Jinx it. He might stay, you know what I mean? Like,
okay,
so
who's your
left Spaniard in goal?
Luke Shaw all day long.
Luke Shaw?
Big season for him this year.
Again, that's another presumption that he'll be fit. But okay.
That he'll be what, fat?
just for the lols.
Sorry, Luke.
Just for the lols, I'm just going to put their prices underneath as well.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
All right, right back. Who's the right back?
You haven't put 3 at the back, have you? Bloody hell, I'm going to have nightmares.
No. But as you can see, the fullback is the right fullback is Dani Alves-esque pushing on.
Yeah.
Who's the right fullback?
Darmian.
Darmian.
Signed him. I would prefer it to be Raphael. I love that boy, Raphael. He's a maverick, but Louis van Gaal obviously doesn't.
Can we also say this? Darmian will, again, he's another adaptable signing.
Yes. So
he's proven in Italy he can play along the back line. Fantastic.
So there he is, right.
There he is.
Centre backs.
How much did Darmian cost?
12.
See, that's great value. I think that's great value for an international.
We've signed Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin, and Darmian, and Depay, all for the amount of that bell.
Yeah? Look at that. And he's happy about that.
And he's getting bigger wages than Schweinsteiger. Can you believe that?
Gentlemen, back to
back
Adnan's
to
question.
I can't.
Centre backs.
Sterling.
Centre backs.
Otamendi.
Hang on. You haven't signed Otamendi.
Yeah, but this is the predictions. They reckon.
They ask from
Have you seen full-time Devils recently? It's only about Otamendi and Ramos.
Best 11 currently. What they've got.
All right, Smalling and Jones.
Whoa, what about Rojo?
Yeah, Rojo and Smalling.
Okay, so Smalling
Not
and
Jones.
No.
Okay.
He went backwards a bit last season.
I mean,
season for him this year.
I said a few seasons ago, I said, mark my words, he will be captain, and he wasn't in the end.
I said.
So
he will be Manchester United and England captain eventually one day.
England?
Yeah.
Rojo and Smalling.
I think Smalling was fantastic. From his red card last season at the Etihad.
That was the best
He went
bit.
on leaps and bounds.
Okay.
And he was
Let's move on to the midfield then.
Midfield 3. How are you
Midfield
shaping
3.
that? 2 and 1? Or?
It's a big game, isn't it?
It is a big game.
So
mate,
Mickey Carrick in the holding role.
Carrick.
Obviously, if Carrick and Schneiderlin can swap every now and then.
Yeah, and then Schneiderlin.
Schweinsteiger.
So I put the.
And Herrera.
Ooh. Saucy.
Yep. Perfect.
So Carrick, Herrera, and Schweinsteiger.
I love Herrera, I do. If I left Ander Herrera out,
would you be lacking?
I'd be
one
going
pushing
all
on
the
a
way.
bit?
I could, Herrera could possibly. If you see the role that Mata played last season, the inverted winger on the right, Herrera could play that position quite well, I feel. But let's just say he's a centre midfielder.
So you've gone Carrick, Schweinsteiger, and Herrera.
Which leaves.
Who would be the one pushing on there?
Schweinsteiger.
Herrera.
I think you could push Schweinsteiger and Herrera up. I think if you push Schweinsteiger further up the pitch,
Herrera's fantastic. If you ever get to go to a Manchester United game, in this crowd, just watch under Herrera.
Okay. And what about out wide? 2 boys out wide.
Yeah. Don't even look at the goals.
And here's a lad.
Depay and Di Maria.
Go on, say
Depay.
Did you not have Mata? No one Mata?
That's what I mean. That's why I feel so many good players get left out of the team. Come on the wing.
Well, you don't have to have him.
Memphis or Angel or Juan.
I think you'd have Depay, definitely. And Rooney up top?
Or Wilson.
Wazza in it.
Big Wazza. No room for Wrecking Ball Fellaini.
Harry Kane's on the bench.
Yeah, but this league, and then what we have to acknowledge there is this is something that United are doing this summer, is they're giving themselves options from the bench. You've got Blint, who's a great option change, one of those guys. Mata.
Haven't even talked about Fellaini, lad.
Schneiderlin.
Perfect plan B in the Premier League.
Yeah, Fellaini.
There we are. Well, that's all we've got time for this week, everybody. Thank you very much to Lawrence, as always. Adam, it's been an absolute pleasure. I don't know what we're doing there, but it's just sort of
isn't it?
Can I have a touch as well?
Yeah, there we go. Adam, thank you very much for coming down to talk to us. This,
pleasure, guys.
This marvellous channel, Football Daily Weekly. Talking of channels, you're on the Full-Time Devils, of course.
It's a great channel.
There. And also on Adam McCulloch
Subscribe.
TV. Subscribe to all of that and more. Thank you very much to Rio Ferdinand as well.
Cheers, Rio.
He's been on Football Daily Weekly. Get your comments in below, whether you're a Manchester United fan or not. We love you, and we'll see you next time.